Good morning. New Hartford and Sequoia on a 1-hour delay this morning. Anthony Brindisi is the Democratic Assemblyman. Good morning, Anthony Brindisi.
Good morning, Bill. Good morning, everybody.
So we want to talk about, Nano and what's going on. Some new news that's probably not all that new. This has been going on since February, but we'll talk about that. But before we get into it, I wanted to just briefly, as long as I have somebody who's an attorney on, and we don't sound so stupid, we add a little intelligence to the conversation. Talking about this Word of Life case, and DA Scott McNamara coming out yesterday and challenging this clergy privilege. Makes a lot of sense, right? That when do you normally see the clergy privilege being used to benefit the clergy, right?
Right.
So, talk about that and just a little bit about the history of that. Normally, it would be to protect the person who's speaking with their pastor.
Right. That's typically how it goes. That's how it goes. Similar to like the attorney-client privilege or
Right.
the patient-doctor privilege. Clergy, there's certainly been a number of cases over the years where things have been said in confidence to clergy by a parishioner and then, subject to a case later on, whether or not that could be used against them or not, or force the clergy to testify. I guess I've never seen it be used by clergy.
This would be the first time
I don't do a whole lot of criminal law, so I can't say it's unusual, but there's something. Typically, it's the other way around when you hear about it for the parishioner.
And what is the general rule when it comes to that confidentiality? If you say to your priest, "Hey, I that bank robbery you were looking at, I was involved in that." Is it the obligation of the priest to report that to authorities, or could the priest say, "Listen, that's clergy privilege right there"?
It's hard for me to say for clergy because again, I don't do a whole ton of criminal law, but I can tell you, like for attorney-client, attorneys cannot reveal unless there's some immediate threat or danger of a crime being committed in the near future. There's really nothing. You can't reveal what is said between you and a client, and even that becomes a gray area. There's case law all over the place, but I assume it's probably very similar for clergy. Yeah. Unless there's a threat of something immediate happening that they could prevent by speaking out, then it probably is the same thing.
See how much better these conversations go when we actually have someone that is the expert, and then we bring up. I'm great at asking questions. But when I'm asking the questions and answering them, it always gets a little rough, Anthony. Gets a little tough.
I think you're an expert in many different trades there, to be honest, Bill. I think you do a good job.
Thank you.
Don't fuel the fire, Anthony.
Please.
I'm sorry about that.
I'll be interviewing myself all morning long. Okay, let's talk about what's going on right now in Marcy. Construction underway, and that, I guess, what is it? It's truckloads of dirt and debris being taken out to make way for construction. Is that's what is going on right now?
Yeah, this is the Marcy Nano site. That's where AMS, the Austrian company that's building a chip fabrication plant, is going to be going. And the first phase of that is really just the dirt removal, trying to level the site, clear some trees, and make it ready for the chip fab to be built, which is expected to break ground this next month in April. So it's been trucking a lot of dirt. People who live in that area probably seen a lot of dirt being moved around and brought to other areas because it's certainly a major endeavor building a chip fab. These are high-tech buildings that go up pretty fast, but there's a lot of work and specialty trades that go into building these things, and really the first phase is underway right now.
And I got to tell you, we've been I've been doing a little touring of the area in the last week or two, and spent some time out at the airport, and very impressive as to what's going on there. Spent time at the 911 center. Very impressive as to what is happening there. When you get out, you actually see these facilities, and you can see it as opposed to just hearing about it in the news or reading about it in the newspaper. I think it adds a little meat to the story.
I think it does too, and I think sometimes we always have some negativity in the area, and people are out there saying, "Well, things aren't happening. Nothing's moving forward. There's nothing going on in the area." But you're right. Until you actually get out there and see firsthand some of the things that are happening, then you really don't know, and it's hard to. You can't be out there, myself or whatever, the newspaper every day covering every single point or phase of a project that's happening. So it's hard if you don't hear about a story in a few months, then people start to have a negative view. But yeah, I mean the old airport, the Oneida County Airport, where the Homeland Trading Center is, the state has put about $40 million into that place over the last couple of years. There's streetscapes up there. It's really now like the premier training center in the Northeast for first responders. It's unbelievable, some of the things that they have up there. Griffiths, there's still great things happening there with what the county's doing, with the terminal and some of the other renovations that are happening up there. And you're right, there's a ton going on, and it's really exciting to see some of the things happening. All
right, I want to switch gears, talk a little politics. I know you're a Democrat, of course, and it's hard to kind of differentiate these days because it seems like the Democrats and the Republicans in this area are really working together, which ultimately is what we want as citizens. But tonight there is a Democratic committee meeting. I'm wondering, Claudia was very upset that she was not endorsed by the Republicans. Am I going to have to do a Dave Gordon story tomorrow because the Democrats are not going to endorse Dave Gordon? What are your thoughts?
Well, it's hard to say. I can't predict what the committee will do, but I know that there was a screening last week of 3 candidates on the Democratic side, and there's one that I believe just announced this morning, Kim Myers from the Broome County area, who's running and I think is going to make a pretty formidable candidate. There's another one, Dave Gordon, of course, has announced, and another one, Josh Riley, who's from the Southern Tier area, who also I think would make a pretty good candidate, but I'm not sure if he's decided whether or not he's going forward. So I think, you'll find out tonight who the committee chooses, and then we have to rally together as Democrats and really work hard to try and get that person elected.
Kim Myers, is she the one that is tied to Dick's Sporting Goods?
Yes, her father was the founder of Dick's Sporting Goods, and then her and her brother took over the company.
Got it.
Several years later, and have been running it since.
And I'm told that you can correct me here, but I'm told that you were the first choice of the National Democratic Party, and that she is the second. Can you confirm any of that?
Well, I think I guess I could say that. I was when this first was announced back in October, November, when Richard first said he wasn't running. The National Party did reach out to me, and we had communicated for a while there. They were very good with me, giving me some time to announce, and that was the word I got, was that she was kind of waiting to see what I would do before she had made up her mind whether or not she was running. And once I had decided that I wasn't going to, then I think the DCCC, which is the campaign wing of the Democrats in Congress, decided to start talking to her a little bit more about her plans for running and whether or not they could support her.
It's interesting because there's money, a pretty sizable amount of money that they put behind the candidate that they choose.
Well, this 22nd district is considered a very competitive district in the minds of Democrats. And if you look at the registration, the way it breaks out is there actually is 30,000 more Republicans in the 22nd district. But the district is very moderate. For example, Mitt Romney won the district in the last presidential race by less than a percentage point. So it's Republicans, and these are the kind of people I talk to all the time. Republicans or Democrats that would vote for a Democrat or vote for a Republican as long as they're moderate, they're a good person, they represent the area well, they're not as tied to party ideology as opposed to just voting for the best candidate, which could be a Democrat or Republican. Sure. So that's why it's considered a swing district. So, which means there's going
to be a lot of money spent here. We're going to be seeing a lot of commercials in the next 6 or 7 months.
You will be sick and tired of commercials over the next six months or so leading up to the election, because it's going to be one that both national parties, no matter who the candidate is on the Republican side, the Republican Party is going to back whoever that person is because they want to hang on to the seat. And the Democrats think they can make a pickup here. So you're going to see a ton of commercials and ad time spent by the national parties here, and then you're going to have outside groups, too. It's going to be like a mini presidential race where you have all these outside groups doing it as well.
It is going to be cha-ching for the TV stations. That is for darn
those
sure.
Those in the media will be doing very well. Those are the real winners, I guess, over there.
No doubt about it. All right, good stuff. Anthony Brindisi, Assemblyman, thanks so much for coming on this morning. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you, guys.
Today is Thursday, March 3rd. Maggie Addington in Boonville celebrating today. Maggie, happy birthday. And Angel Oliveira in New Hartford is celebrating as well. So happy birthday to both Maggie and Angel. Maggie Addington gets the cake up there in Boonville from the Florentine Pastry Shop on Bleecker Street in Utica. Join our VIP club and submit your birthday online at WIBX950.com, or you can send it on a postcard, WIBX Birthdays, 9418 River Road, Marcy, 13403. I have a free money question of the day from the Hobica Law Firm coming up. We'll get to that. And also Congressman Richard Hanna to talk about the Supreme Court nomination, and there's a firefighter cancer registry that is something important to talk about. We're going to have the congressman coming right up. Christine Bellino right now with news at 7:31 on WIBX.